What's a story you'll never tell your kids? I found out my dad had been charging me rent since I was 12 years old. Not openly. He was way too smart for that. Every time I needed school supplies, clothes, or wanted to do anything with friends, he'd sigh dramatically and say, "We were tight on money because of household expenses." Then, he'd reluctantly hand over $20 and make me feel guilty for even asking. What I didn't know was that my college fund from Grandpa's inheritance, $47,000 that was supposed to be untouchable until I turned 18, had been steadily disappearing. Dad had been forging withdrawal slips and using my social security number, taking out $200, $500 every few months for 6 years straight. I only discovered this when I turned 17 and tried to check my college fund balance online. The account showed $3,400 remaining. I called the bank thinking it was an error, but they confirmed every transaction. All legitimate withdrawals signed by me, except I'd never been to that bank in my life. I confronted Dad immediately, account statements in hand. He didn't even look surprised, just leaned back in his chair and said, "Son, you think raising a kid is free? Food, utilities, your phone bill. That money went to taking care of you." When I pointed out that's literally what parents are supposed to do, he laughed. "Welcome to the real world. Nothing's free." Mom was at her book club, so I called her immediately. Dad calmly took the phone and told her I was having some kind of breakdown about money, probably stressed about college applications. He suggested I might need counseling for my unrealistic expectations about finances. Mom came home worried about my mental state, not his theft. That weekend, I made a decision that would destroy our relationship forever. I knew Dad's biggest weakness, his reputation at church. He was a deacon, led the men's prayer group, constantly bragged about being a man of integrity who raised his son with strong values. Sunday morning came. Dad was scheduled to give a testimony about faithful stewardship to the entire congregation. 400 people, including all his co-workers and friends. I sat in the front row with a folder full of bank statements, withdrawal records, and a timeline I'd created showing exactly how much he'd stolen and when. Dad began his speech about teaching children the value of money and being trustworthy with finances. He was mid-sentence talking about leading by example. When I stood up and walked to the podium, the entire church went silent. "I'd like to share my own testimony about my father's financial lessons," I announced. Dad's face went completely white.